In our previous sessions, I have talked about the goods and services configuration. After doing goods and services configuration, I went ahead and showed you how we stock in. Stocking in, like I had mentioned earlier, is the act of actually putting our goods on the shelves so that we are able to have them on display for our clients to come and buy them. Now it's time for us to sell them. So, according to the accounting terms, when you're selling goods, you're either going to issue a receipt or an invoice. You issue a receipt when you sell goods on cash. You will issue an invoice when you sell goods on credit. Now, regardless of whether you're going to sell these goods on credit or on cash, as far as the EFRIS system is concerned, you're going to issue an e-receipt or an e-invoice in pretty much the same way. And in today's session, this is what I'll be showing you. My name is Arnold Kisembo. This is Kisembo Academy. So, this is the EFRIS web portal. I have already logged in. So when we are going to issue an invoice, we are going to come to hover our invoice, our mouse here, to what we call Fiscal Document Management. When we come to Fiscal Document Management, I will come and click on Issue. When I click on Issue, just like that, it means you're going to issue an invoice. Now, remember, this is for both those that are doing services and products. So when we are going to issue invoice, I'll definitely come and write my name here as the operator. And then the seller's reference number, I can put it here. It's not mandatory, but in case you feel you should for record keeping purposes, keep it there. Then let's talk about the buyer's details. Remember, we are selling. We are issuing an invoice. We are selling. So here is the buyer. Is the buyer a business? Is the buyer a consumer? Is the buyer a foreigner? So it's all here. You can either put it there or you can go to frequent contacts. If I click on frequent contacts here, it's going to show me a list of the contacts that I have been, that I regularly invoice. But how do these contacts come to this schedule? I'll be showing you that in another video. So let's ignore this for now. Let's talk about here. So it's either my customer is either a business or the final consumer or a foreigner. So I will fill in their details. Let me just pick an arbitrary tin here. Let's say I'll put in the tin of a business here. When I put in the tin of the business here and I click outside, the rest of these items will auto-populate, and that's it. So when they auto-populate like that, then I'll go on to say next. I'll click on next. So when I click on next, this is what happens. So section C is goods or services details. I'll come here and click on add. Now when I click on add, this is what comes. And when I come here and click on select, when I click on select, what is going to bring me down here, what is supposed to show here, are the goods that I have stocked in. I mean, let's face it, you can only sell goods that are on your shelves. That means you can only sell goods that you've stocked in. So the goods that you've stocked in are the goods that are going to show up down here. And it is from those goods that you'll be able to choose which good you should put on your invoice. Now, in this very particular case, the goods have not showed up, the ones that I've stocked in. So if that happens, simply hit the search button here. When you hit the search button, the goods will auto-populate and load themselves. Let's do it. So I click, they've loaded, and now here they are. So these are the goods. So these are the goods that are on my shelf, or the goods that I stocked in. And if you look at this is the stock that is showing me 20, 50, 300. This is saying not applicable because this is a service, as you can see. These are the goods. Now, definitely this is showing 20. Do you see that? That when it comes to this first item, it is showing 20 because it is below the low stock configuration. If you watched my earlier videos, you know what I mean by low stock configuration. So that 20 being in red signifies that the thing you're about to sell is below the low stock configuration, but that doesn't mean that you can't sell it. You can still sell it. So let's add like 2 items. So I'll click, let's say we're going to sell jerry cans. I'll click jerry cans. I'll come here and say okay. So the information auto-populates itself there. So again, the quantity, I'll come here and either increase it or decrease it, depending the jerry cans. So let's say I'm selling 7 jerry cans. So as I increase it, it's going the price here will increase automatically, and the tax information. Then I'll simply come and click on save. When I click on save, that item jerry cans will show up there. Let me add another item. I'll come here, click add. Now I'm adding items that I'm going to sell. I'll click select like that. Again, they've not auto-populated. I'll hit search so that they show up here. Let me look for apples here. So I'll click on apples. I'll come here and click OK. When I click on OK, so here are the apples. Now take note at the configuration we said apples, we can either sell them in boxes or in trays or in pieces. We can sell per piece. So unit of measure box. I can at this when I click on this drop down here, I can choose how I'm selling. Maybe I'm selling them in terms of pieces or I'm selling them in terms of trays. It's up to me. And whenever I choose those options, you realize that the unit price keeps changing down here. This is 1,000. If I'm selling in terms of boxes, each box is 120,000. If I'm selling in terms of trays, each tray is 20,000. How did this information get to be like this? This is stuff that we did at the point when we were configuring, when we were telling the system how we sell our stuff. Okay, so again here, I'll just tweak here the quantity I'm going to sell. Anyhow, then I'll simply come here and save, and the thing will come. Same story. If I want to add another item, let me do this a bit fast. Maybe I've jerry can, maybe or sanitizer. Okay. So after maybe putting making the necessary changes, okay, then I can come here and instead of saying save, I said add item. If I come here, click add item, it means that this window will not go away. It will just remain the way it is to save time. I can simply say add item, and then I simply go to the next. Next, maybe I add another item, English cucumber. Then whatever I say, maybe these ones I'm selling too, then I'll come here, click add item like that, and so on. It's pretty self-explanatory. Okay. Then I'll say save. So these are the items that I have put on the invoice. As you can see, goods and services details. These are the items that I've put on the invoice. So after putting those items on the invoice, then definitely in case there's any item here that I want to remove, I've made a mistake, I simply click on that item. Let's say I want to remove day sanitizer. I'll click day. Then I'll come here up and say delete. Are you sure you want to delete this? I'll say okay. Then it will be off my invoice. Let's say in these jerry cans, I've put the quantity here is 7, yet it was supposed to be 6 jerry cans. I'll come and click on the jerry can here, then I'll come here and click modify. And if I click modify, then I can come and reduce them to the quantity to 6. Then I'll say save, and then the whole thing is that. Let's say I have sold an item, and yes, remember that at the point of configuration, these prices that you're seeing, that unit price, these are the prices that we said we are going to sell to our clients. And these are prices that these prices here, the unit price, we fed in these prices at the point we were configuring. But sometimes business is not just like that. Sometimes people bargain and you give discounts, and yes, you're supposed to now it's no longer, let's say it's jerry cans. You were selling each jerry can at 20,000, and so it means the total is 120,000. But because this person is buying 6 jerry cans from you, you feel you should give them a discount. So if the discount item is on the jerry cans, again, I'm going to come and click on jerry cans. I think you can see the tick here. I click on jerry cans. Then I'll come here and click on discount. When I click on discount, then I will come and put the discount amount. Now, of course, if you to put the discount rate, not many of you might be good at math, because to determine, maybe let's say the person came and they bought jerry cans from you. They were supposed to be worth 120,000, but you've allowed them to pay 10,000. If you've allowed them to pay 10,000, it means that the discount is 20,000. So I'll come here and say discount amount. I'll simply come here and say it's 20,000. When I put the discount amount here, it will automatically compute the percentage discount in this box up here. And so I'll simply come here and say save. And so I think here you can see that yes, whereas here up here it's showing that the jerry cans are 18%. Then this yellow line, thick yellow line, is showing the discount that has been allowed on the jerry cans. And that is how we represent discounts on in EFRIS. So in other words, if you're the kind of person that is selling products, but you're not sure which, at the point of configuration, you could be having that issue that, hey, for me, the kind of products I sell, sometimes I can't determine what price I will sell them right now. Yet when I am configuring the system, I am supposed to tell the system what price I'm supposed to, to pay. I mean, what price I am charging, yet I am not certain. The price depends on the person. So if you're that kind of person, that the kind of product that you're selling, you do not know, you can't predict the final price. The prices keep varying for every person. Simply select a higher price, and then at the point of issuing the invoice, it's easy to, you just give a discount. I hope you get what I'm saying. Let's say you are selling the kind of items you sell. Let's say you sell clothes, you sell good, suits, and you do not have a standard price for the suits, but you are using EFRIS, and when you're issuing these invoices, um, at the point of configuration, you're supposed to state what price you're going to sell the suit, but you do not have a fixed price for the suits. So there, what you do, just choose a high price. Let's say, okay, maximum I can sell a suit is, let's say, 800,000. That is what you indicate in your configuration, goods and services configuration. Then at the point of selling, somebody comes, they bargain, and they are like, okay, me, I'm going to pay 750. So if they are paying 750, it means you've given a discount of 50%. So I mean of 50,000. So you simply come to the invoice and give that discount of 50,000, and that's it. And of course, there are some people that do not, want those things of discount. I have come across people who do not want those funny details to show up on the, invoice that at a discount. What's that? Well, for such people, it means you're supposed to configure the item afresh, with the exact price that they want, and you go on and stock it in and issue the invoice at that exact price. Well, different businesses are different in how they approach their things, but there is a solution for everything regardless. So what I have been showing you here is how we are doing it for for products, and you realize that as far as products are concerned, the unit price was always there at the very beginning when we were configuring. Now, what about for services? There's something I would like you to see. So I'm going to come here and click add. I come here and click select. So as I'm clicking select, let me hit search so that everything auto-populates. Now the service that we configured was here, this one of construction. So I'll click on construction. Then I'll come and click OK. So you see, when we come for construction here, do you realize that the tax here is, the amount here is nothing? Remember I said that when we are configuring items in the EFRIS portal, for products, it is mandatory to include the price of the price you're going to sell the product. But for services, remember when it comes to services, it's very hard to determine a standard price. So that part of indicating the price of the service is left blank. It is left blank so that at the point of issuing the invoice, you can come and include the price that you bargained with the person. So maybe we are going to do a construction site, maybe there is some renovation we're going to do, and we've agreed that we're going to be earning 20 million. So I'll simply come here and say 20. So yeah, what I'm talking about is actually the unit price here, not the total. I put in the unit price is 20 million. I'll simply come here, the quantity is 1. Maybe if I said it is per, the unit of measure here, there was nothing, but if I increase this, it will keep increasing and so on. So I'll just simply set when they put the unit price of the entire contract here, plus quantity is 1, then total price with tax inclusive is 20 million. And I'll come here and, click save. And that's it. So that's just what I wanted to show you. So of course, after adding in whatever product you're supposed to add in, then you come down here, payment mode, cash. Of course, it's either cash or maybe it's credit, regarding, depending on mobile money or whatever, depending on your circumstances. Okay, so the payment mode, cash, maybe the entire cash was paid, or there are some items, some are paid cash, others are paid in credit. If it is cash, then you can simply come here and say how much cash was given. Remember the invoice amount here, let's say here they're showing us the total, that's 20,137,000. Let's say part of this was paid in cash, so I can simply come here and say that maybe it's only 10 million that was paid in cash. So I'll say payment mode cash. I'll simply come and say 10 million. 10 million was paid in cash. So if 10 million was paid in cash, I'll simply come here and click this plus button like that. And so that is what it means, that 10 million was paid in cash. Then I'll come here, click like that to show what about the other credit? The other was paid by credit. Then I'll click credit. Maybe let's say 5 million was paid on credit. Remember this 10,137,000, this is showing how much is remaining. So I'll come here and say 5 million was paid in credit. Then I'll come here and click like that, the plus button. Then you're seeing that here it is cash 10 million, credit 10 million. So it means that total amount paid is 15 million, total amount payable is 5 million, which is right here, just like that. That is if you have. So what is remaining here is 5,137,000. So let me write that here, 5,137,000. That is, this figure is what is down here. That's the payable amount. Maybe this one was paid by check. I'll come here and click check like that. Then I'll add click. So we are supposed to do this until the payable amount here is 0. That's when the invoice will be issued. So if the payable amount is 0, total amount paid is 2137, and that total amount paid coincides with what is down here, 2137,000, then you can simply come and generate the invoice. So I'll come here and click generate invoice. Are you sure you want to generate invoice? I'll say okay. And here we are, the invoice is generated, and that is how an invoice from URA looks like. When this invoice is issued, a copy of it is sent to the email of the person that you have issued this invoice to. That is, if they have a TIN number, it is sent to the email that was registered with the TIN number, and the other copy of this invoice is sent to the email, the email of the person that is issuing the invoice. If you want, you can simply download this tax invoice as well by clicking on that drop down arrow, and you download it. So that's how we issue an e-invoice. My name is Arnold Kisembo, and this is it.